One of the biggest criticisms we continue to hear about the mainstream media is that they are always drawing this false equivalence between somebody like Donald Trump and the Democratic Party, where on the one hand, you have a true threat to our democracy, and on the other hand, you have somebody like Tim Walz who may have fudged the dates about when he was at Tiananmen Square. These things are just not the same. So when we find voices in mainstream media who are willing to come out and speak unequivocally about the threat Donald Trump poses to this country, I think we should lift those voices up. And the latest person to do this was Scott Pelley from 60 Minutes. He recently gave the commencement speech at Wake Forest University. And just as a reminder to everybody, 60 Minutes is currently under attack. Donald Trump is trying to sue them under this false pretense that they deceptively edited a Kamala Harris interview. At the same time, he's threatening to block the merger of their parent company if he doesn't get what he wants. And on top of all of that, one of the main producers from 60 Minutes already left the network because he said the journalistic integrity had been compromised with these threats from Donald Trump. So what Scott Pelley is doing here is courageous. Not only is he maybe at risk of losing his job, but he will undoubtedly come under attack by not only Donald Trump, but by the MAGA movement. So let's go ahead and take a look at what he had to say. We'll go ahead and start off with this clip where he talks about many of the fundamental values we hold dear in this country are currently under attack. If you guys do appreciate my work, please do remember to subscribe.
To move forward, we debate, not demonize. We discuss, not destroy. But in this moment, this morning, our sacred rule of law is under attack. Journalism is under attack. Universities are under attack. Freedom of speech is under attack. And insidious fear is reaching through our schools, our businesses, our homes, and into our private thoughts. The fear to speak in America. If our government is, in Lincoln's phrase, of the people, by the people, for the people, then why are we afraid to speak?
That is absolutely chilling. And everything he said there, we all know is true. Donald Trump is going after universities, he's going after law firms, he's going after news agencies. How many people out there are self-censoring? How many reporters are out there who aren't reporting the things that they should be reporting, all because we have a wannabe authoritarian in the Oval Office who is threatening to go after anybody who might stand up against him? And he talks about this insidious fear, about how it is coursing through our society like a plague. This should not be happening in America. This is antithetical to the ideas and the values that this country was founded on. And Donald Trump is trying to throw all of that away because he wants to be a king right here in America. And there is no better voice than somebody like Scott Pelley to be pointing this out. No matter how controversial it may be, these are the types of voices that we need in this moment. He goes on to talk about why they might be going after the universities.
What does this make Wake Forest in this moment? Well, I think we know. Did you hear that phrase in the Declaration? Pursuit of the truth. Why attack universities? Why attack journalism? Because ignorance works for power. First, make the truth seekers live in fear. Sue the journalists and their companies for nothing. Then send masked agents to abduct a college student who wrote an editorial in her college paper defending Palestinian rights and send her to a prison in Louisiana charged with nothing. Then move to destroy the law firms that stand up for the rights of others.
Where is he wrong? This Trump administration is rounding people up without any due process, shipping them off to gulags down in El Salvador. They're rounding up students, taking away their visas, shipping them out of the country if they're not ideologically aligned. I mean, they arrested somebody on the street, 6, 7 masked agents, and took her away, detained her without any charges at all for weeks at a time. This should not be happening in the United States. This is the Democratic backsliding that everybody was warning about before Donald Trump got elected for a second time. This is how bad we thought things were going to be in his first term. But now that he has surrounded himself with a whole bunch of sycophants who are unwilling to push back against these authoritarian tendencies, against these very fascistic tendencies, we are heading down a path that I never thought we would be heading down right here in the United States. I was one of those people who maybe thought that this couldn't happen in America. We're better than that. But Donald Trump has duped, 25 to 35% of this country into believing all of his different grievances, which Scott Pelley goes to point out here about how he can now rewrite history because this ignorance that has become so pervasive in the MAGA movement.
With that done, power can rewrite history with grotesque, false narratives. They can make criminals heroes and heroes criminals. Power can change the definition of the words we use to describe reality. Diversity is now described as illegal. Equity is to be shunned. Inclusion is a dirty word. This is an old playbook, my friends. There's nothing new in this. George Orwell, who we met on the street in London, 1949, he warned us about what he called new speak. He understood that ignorance works for power.
Again, another damning indictment of this administration. Donald Trump has been waging a war on truth in this country ever since he came onto the scene back in 2015? He's built a conspiracy bubble that the MAGA movement lives in that is built on this web of lies that doesn't even resemble or come close to the truth. And now he is using that. He is weaponizing this ignorance to try to take over this country in an authoritarian fashion because he is this petulant man baby who wants to control everything that he wants to control. He is attacking Harvard, saying that they're no longer allowed to accept foreign students unless he can go in there and have some say over the hiring and firing decisions. He wants to go into universities and shut down their diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. I mean, it is all insane. This is government overreach. This is authoritarianism. This is what fascism looks like. Donald Trump is trying to silence all dissent. And when he can go after the universities, when he can scare the educated people or the people who seek truth, if he can scare all of those people, then he will have less resistance. So calling this out as newspeak is such an excellent way to put this. They've turned all of these things into boogeymen. Diversity, equity, inclusion, boogeymen. Inclusion on its own, boogeymen. Everything that we used to aspire to here in America is currently under attack by this administration. And this whole speech was kind of a call to arms, saying that it is your time to stand up for your country, to fight back against this Democratic backsliding. And he ends the speech, or nearly ends the speech, with this statement here.
What is the meaning of life? Who are you? You are the educated. You are the compassionate. You are the fierce defenders of democracy, the seekers of truth, the vanguard against ignorance. You are millions strong across our land. I might be sorry that you were picked by history for this role, but maybe that was the plan. Hard times are going to make you better and going to make you stronger. In a few minutes, when that diploma hits your hand, it's not a piece of paper we're giving you. We're handing you the baton. Run with it.
It's just excellent. He's not preaching at these people. He's trying to help them understand what is currently going down in our country, and that it is their turn to step up and fight for this country as we experience this authoritarian takeover from the Trump administration. I highly suggest that everybody goes and watches this speech. It was really good. It was powerful. It was moving. It was inspirational. And yes, may it be a little political. Unfortunately, that's what these times call for. And I am so sick and tired of hearing MAGA. You're ripping Scott Pelley apart under this guise of, oh, this was an anti-MAGA, anti-Trump screed. This is what Trump is doing to our country. Sometimes the truth is unfavorable to one side. And that is what we are currently seeing here. Like I said, Donald Trump has built a conspiracy bubble that is based on a web of lies that do not resemble the truth. So anytime you speak out in these terms, like Scott Pelley just did, sometimes it may appear biased. Sometimes it may appear as though you are under attack if you are a MAGA lunatic. But these are the current state of our society. We have a wannabe authoritarian in the White House who is going after everything that we hold dear in this country, all because he has some ambitions of being some sort of autocrat. He's going after everybody under the sun. He wants to silence dissent. He has encouraged violence. I mean, just check out how his first term ended, right? He inspired an insurrection against the United States. He riled up a mob of his supporters to storm the Capitol, to try to stop a free and fair election. That should not be happening in the United States. So, huge props to Scott Pelley here, taking this time for a message of fight, of democracy, of all of these things we hold dear, telling these students that it is their time to pick up the baton and start to give back to the country that has given them so much. I highly suggest that everybody goes and watches this speech. And I think it is excellent that we are hearing from people like Scott Pelley, people from the mainstream media, who are saying in no uncertain terms that Donald Trump is a threat to our country. And that is what everybody should be saying in this moment. These are the voices we need, and we should lift up to fight back against this authoritarian regime. So, I will leave it there for now, guys. If you guys got anything out of this video, please do remember to smash that like button and subscribe. Maybe share with a friend or two. I'd very much appreciate that. We are trying to build something here on the left that adequately pushes back against the right-wing media ecosystem that just launders all of Donald Trump's authoritarian tendencies day in and day out. So if you do like what I do here, please do remember to smash that subscribe button. Of course, that is free. And if you guys want to see how Donald Trump is, in fact, going after places like Harvard, his specific attacks on Harvard itself, go ahead and watch that video on the screen now. Otherwise, I'll see you guys on the next one.